Good afternoon, Team Vision Quest and Dreamwalkers. It's your upline diamond, Kevin Bergs, talking to you here today. Wanted to go over just a couple things, a training from a long time ago that came to mind that I think is really important that we understand. It puts an interesting spin on the industry. I call it the 3 phases of a distributor's life. When we start out, when we get exposed to the industry, oftentimes, you can equate it to like a baby distributor. They're brand new, they need a lot of attention, very fragile, negative relatives can kind of kill the baby, so to speak. But the exciting thing about a baby distributor is they're absorbing information like a sponge. They do pretty much what their sponsor tells them to. They learn the back office, they listen, they're growing their business. They want to be just like mom and dad. They want to be like their sponsor, and they start building a really good business. And but then a tendency in the industry is that as they get a few hundred distributors, they start managing those distributors. And instead of doing the personal production of finding distributors and customers on a daily basis, they start becoming a manager role. And that then leads to the second phase of a distributor's life, which I call the adolescent or teenager phase. And it's really the most dangerous phase of a distributor's lifespan because they really have had a little success, so they think they actually know a little bit more than what they really do know. They think they know more than their sponsor, of course, right? Because they can easily surpass what their sponsor's done. They're just a hack, right? And they've become an overseer, like I mentioned, but then they become an overseer of the overseers. And how do you detect the adolescents in your company? And I always find it quite amusing because they're the guys that are out in the hall if there's a big convention or a big meeting. They're the guys out in the hall talking because they've heard the presentation 100 times, so they're out there yakking, or they're leaning up against the wall with their arms crossed. They're watching everybody else. They're overseeing the overseers, right? It's actually quite amusing. And what happens is because it's a very dangerous phase, because eventually by becoming an overseer of the overseer, they don't do the personal production that got them to where they were. And so then it's a monkey see, monkey do business, as most of you guys know. So then their people start becoming overseers of the overseers, and very few people are doing any personal sponsoring or finding customers. So if a person makes it through that phase, then eventually they get to the third phase of their life as a distributor, which is the adult phase. And that's really where it gets fun. That's those folks are a joy to deal with. They get to the point where they realize, you know what, I don't know it all, and in fact I'm never going to know it all, and they become a student of the industry, and they get into constant learning, they get into personal development, they don't play the blame game anymore, they look in the mirror, and their success is dependent on their own activities and their mental outlook and such, and it goes full cycle, and they become a sponge again, almost like a baby distributor. So those are what I feel are the 3 phases of a distributor's life, and I hope that you get something out of this training. And next time you're at a big company function, look around and you'll detect who the adolescent or teenagers are, and who the adults are, and who the baby distributors are. Talk to you later. Take care. Have a great afternoon.